Today's Talk365 TV's Talking Wellness is brought to you by Factory 6.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Talking Wellness series. Today I am so excited because I am here with Trent from our new wellness team members, Factory 6. Hi Trent.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me, and I have to tell you, we are so excited to have you guys be a part of our wellness team.
Likewise.
Because the content that we are going to put together with you guys is going to be a really cool mashup of both talking wellness and talking business, because Factory 6 is a white label custom product manufacturer that is exclusive to hemp-derived products. Now, hemp is such a booming industry. It represents over 25,000 products and 9 industries. So it makes it really easy to see why business insiders are all saying you want in on it, why they're all saying you want to invest in a product line, because pretty much we will look back on this time the way we looked back on Apple and Microsoft and Yahoo.
Yes.
So if you don't get in now, you're going to kick yourself later. And I think the only hang-up is there is so much confusion about the plant itself. Is it legal? Is it not? And its story is the reason why there's so much confusion, and that's why you're here, because you are our expert in this.
That's right.
Give us a little history. Tell us why this poor plant has such a bad rap.
So hemp is very misunderstood, as it's not commonly known, but it's a close cousin to marijuana. But back in the 1920s, 1930s, there were business interests that saw it as a competing raw material, specifically lumber. And so they kind of lumped it in with marijuana when they legalized it back in the 1930s in order to protect their own business interests. And at that point, there'd been a lot of research done as far as it being the best product to make paper out of, ropes, clothing out of it. Farmers were using it as a rotational crop to recondition their soils. And then during World War II, in fact, shortly after it was illegalized, there was a mandate in specific states around the country that anyone with over a certain acreage was required to grow hemp for the war effort, because they were making uniforms and parachutes and rope and oil to lubricate plane engines and all kinds of things. I mean, pretty much everything we were using had some hemp-derived products. So it's really, really fascinating the different things that we can do with it. Not only that, is it's a carbon negative material. For example, hempcrete, which is lighter than concrete, actually pulls more carbon out of the atmosphere than it takes to produce it. It's a pretty amazing plant as far as what we can do with it.
Let's then dive in and explain the difference between hemp and marijuana, because under the cannabis umbrella, there's marijuana and there's hemp, but then when we look at hemp, there are different strains of hemp that bring different benefits. So let's talk about that, because I feel like she needs a little hug and some rebranding.
Totally. They're close cousins because they're both under the cannabis family, but they are completely different species of plants. Marijuana has high concentrations of THC, which is what gets you high, gives you that psychoactive effect. Whereas hemp does not. It only has about 0.3% in the products that you're actually going to be consuming. So it is generally untraceable, undetectable amount. So as far as hemp is concerned, like you said, Holly, there's different strains that exist, and these different strains have different profiles, as they call them, of cannabinoids. So CBD, or cannabidiol, is only one of 113 known cannabinoids currently. And cannabinoids are not specific only to plants. We have endocannabinoids that our body produces naturally, and then there's phytocannabinoids that are produced by the plant, and they interact with what's called an endocannabinoid system. This is a system of receptors that our central nervous system uses to regulate different body functions like appetite, pain relief, anxiety, depression, and basically it's using this receptor network to bring our body to homeostasis. As we know, our bodies don't always function perfectly.
Yeah.
And so that's where the addition of, vitamins, supplements, and cannabinoids can help our body perform at a more optimal level. And right now, that's where research is really trending. I mean, there's a lot of scientific research to substantiate the benefits that are coming from hemp and hemp-derived products. In fact, there have been 2 treatments so far with cannabinoids that the FDA has approved as effective treatments. One of them is for acne, and one of them is for epilepsy. And then I can think of 7 different health benefits that they're individually researching right now. And it's not that it's curing these things, but they're finding it to be very effective in helping to alleviate certain things that people are suffering from.
Exactly. Well, now, you guys don't grow your own hemp here, obviously.
Right.
So where do you get it, and what steps do you take to make sure that it is a quality product every time you can count on it?
That's something that, especially as a consumer, this is really, really important. So what we do as a manufacturer, like you say, we do not grow, but we contract with organic farmers. Our farms are generally in Kentucky, Oregon, and Colorado are where we source most of our hemp from. We visit each farm personally. We have to ensure that they're actually using organic practices, that it's truly an organic product. And then these farmers, they test their product at harvest time. It's a full panel lab test that goes through It's free of herbicides, pesticides, heavy metals, microbials, mycobes, fungicides, and also to find out what the profile is as far as percentage of cannabidiol, of the other minor cannabinoids, of THC. So after they do that test, then they put it through an extraction method. That final product that comes off that first extraction is what we call crude oil. Okay. So we buy that crude oil from farmers, and at that point, we test it ourselves. Even though it came to us and it comes with a lab test, we still, just to verify those results, we do a third-party lab test on that material once we receive it. From there, we put it through a distillation process where we're not using any harmful solvents or chemicals to do this. It's a heat and pressure process to refine the crude oil, because the crude oil still has chlorophyll, plant fats, and other things in there that, as far as taste-wise, it's a little rough sometimes. So the heat and pressure process helps to make it more palatable, and at times, the farmers don't have control over what the plant does. Sometimes it does come in, as we call it, hot material, in the sense that it's over federal regulation of 0.3%. And doing our own distillation in-house, we can help remediate and burn off that THC, taking it back down to 0.3%. And then once we put that distillate or isolate into finished products, we then test that finished product again.
So at Factory 6, you guys deal in products that are either full spectrum or broad spectrum. Let's talk, what's the difference there?
So when we pull off the extract off of the plant itself, the full spectrum, it has all of the cannabinoids present that plant produces. Whatever that profile is, that's what we're talking about full spectrum. Full spectrum does have a little bit of THC. We're talking 0.3%, again, it's non-detectable. But as we refine that through a distillation process, there was gonna be a little bit of burn off of some of those cannabinoids, the minor ones, and the THC. And that's where you can get a broad spectrum distillate, or if you even keep going, you can get all the way to isolate. When I say isolate, it's kind of the next step after broad spectrum, where you're just dealing with one cannabinoid. Like, it's not just CBD, there's CBG, CBN, or any of the other cannabinoids. That is a possibility. We have the technology to do that.
So strains are kind of like apples,
yes,
right? There's
very
like
much.
Fuji, there's the Honeycrisp, and when you're talking about the full strain, it's like you're eating it raw.
Yes.
But pretty much if you boil it, bake it, whatever, you're gonna pull out some of those nutrients, which brings you to broad.
Yes.
But what I like about that is if you are interested in a product line and you wanna work with first responders or medical industry people, broad spectrum products would be something you would wanna do because you control that THC level a little more.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a trade-off,
Right.
especially as research trends toward the entourage effect, which means more cannabinoids together equals better benefit, basically. But again, for people who were drug tested on a regular basis, like you said, Holly, that could be a worry about job loss. So that's where people would want to go with a broad spectrum or an isolate-based product.
Right. Well, let's talk about ingestible versus topical. Which way do you want to use? Is there a strategy?
Yes, in fact, both. It's a bit of both is best. So with the endocannabinoid system, those receptors that system uses, about 80% is internal. We do have receptors on the skin, and it can be absorbed and be effective that way, but it's a limited amount. So taking it internally is where you're really gonna get the most benefit. And we have a white label product called a Quick Tab, for example, that's more like a sublingual application. So it gets absorbed directly into the bloodstream through the mouth. So it's effective immediately, and your absorption rates of cannabinoids are a lot higher than, say, something that you swallow down, whether it's a capsule, a soft gel, or a gummy or something like that. It's having to get broken down in the stomach and then absorbed through the digestive system, which takes longer to feel the effects, and your absorption rates of that, is going to be a lot less.
What if people are interested in bringing it down to that nanotechnology? You guys are very well versed in this industry.
Yes.
You know how to get anything and everything done the best way.
Anytime that you put anything through nanotechnology, you're making it more bioavailable. We have a water-soluble white label product that is fantastic and extremely stable. And something that we really want to try and focus on is not just quality products, but effective products.
Right, especially through the digestion process, because with oils and all of that technology out there, it's really important you educate yourself about the bioavailability, and what happens to the product going into your system is key to understanding your products and why they're so great.
Yes.
So I'm on board, I want my white label. Here we go, what's next?
As a manufacturer, we try to make it as easy as possible for everyone from the bootstrapping entrepreneur who's just starting stuff out of his garage to multi-million-dollar corporations to really get into this industry. So even if you're an existing business, the way that we always recommend starting, test some products with your audience. Start slow, spend a few $100, see what they like. What do your clients or audience actually want, right? Maybe it's a tincture, maybe they like tablets, maybe they want soft gels, maybe they want a balm. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, we try to make it it very easy and simple to do. So we provide a white label menu of products. We have MOQs, minimum order quantities, as low as 50 units. I mean, a lot of manufacturers have minimum order quantities upwards of 1,000 to 5,000 units, depending on what you're doing. So for a couple $100, you can test some products with your audience, figure out what works, and then from there you can scale up into a custom product, start adding different kind of function-focused ingredients to really niche down on that product.
Wow. So the key thing to understand is that you really help different business owners figure out how their brand could align with a hemp-derived product so that they can diversify and increase their sales.
Exactly.
Which is brilliant. So what is the best way for people to get a hold of you and set up a strategy session? How does it work?
Absolutely. First thing is reach out to us. The best way to do that is through our website. We have a form. It's got some basic questions as far as your company information, what kind of products you're looking to do. From there, someone from our team will reach out within 24 to 48 hours and start a conversation as far as what products we wanting to test. Do you want to sample that stuff? For white labels, we're generally looking about 1 to 2 weeks. But one of those things that through that process is the labeling process. So we don't do any kind of retail, we're strictly B2B. We do provide label design so that everything on the label is compliant with regulation and it's all in the right place. You've got your QR code that leads to your certificate of analysis on your website, the supplement fact, the ingredient deck, everything that needs to be on there, we can help you get it on there.
Nice.
And then from there, we'll also print the labels and apply them as well to the product. So you literally get a box of product ready to sell. Again, we wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to get into this industry. The more people that are get into this industry to help provide these beneficial products, the better.
Trent, it has been an absolute pleasure. I am so excited that we get to continue this conversation in more of this series along the way and even take you through the process of making a product line, which I am so excited for.
Super excited.
And if you enjoyed this content, log on to their website because we did an extended TV interview and video podcast where we dove deep into all of these things that we talked about, and then you're gonna want to fill out that form and set up a consultation with this guy or a business strategy session so that you can get the ball rolling for your industry. Trent, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, it's been great.
In the meantime, don't go anywhere. We will be right back on Talk365 TV right after this.